Ah, there, a little Steely Dan. Yes, I love it. Glamour Profession. Great album that got you. Anyway, so what's happening, folks? Good to see you as I get around here, getting ready to pull the bus out. Yeah, good to see you. Hello, everyone in the chat room. What's up, Nancy? Hello, Lori. Nina. Gonna have Nina on tomorrow. Looking forward to that, my dear. Shirley, what's up? Dave, I think the doctor's in the house. It still reminds me of Johnny Fever. Anyway, let me just say, favor, speak it over us. I do it every day because I live it and it manifests itself every freaking day. And I love it. It is the only way to go. I mean, you got to go even through this realm. Might as well go with favor. Shields up. You know what I mean? Okay. So, and nothing missing, nothing broken. Anyway, good to see y'all. Mr. Floyd, what's up? Lost in Space, good to see you, Doug. Paradox, Fossil, what's up? Good to see you, Loretta, Cecilia. Uh, Buzz Nugs, I like that. That's a cool handle. Brandon, what's up? Good to see you, John. I love it. Yeah, I got the surfboards up. I tell you what, my wife was telling me at dinner last night. She says, she said, there are just some people that no matter where they are in life, whatever your perspective of age is, mine is eternal youth. I mean, youth has many different phases to it. And she says, you'll be one of those people that when you pass, you're going to pass young. Far out. That's all I got to say. Love that woman. And good to see you. Doug, hello. Jet, hello. Good to see you, Miriam. Mark, how you doing, brother? Let's go, Brandon. I love it. Problem with Biden is that he gives old age a bad name. You know, seriously. Anyway, and it's odd that we how saw that, Mark. Thank you very much. You had to have been reading my mind. Hey, Gaia, good to see you. Manifesting Annie, good to see you. Glad that you're here and sending love right back at you. Pressed down and shaken together, yellow. Anyway, so I just wrote this down because it was like, I'm just jamming out to Steely Dan. Really like them. Anyway, uh, and then a thought hit me. So we're here in America, we're in this election year. It's called the crazy period. Um, but yet, as nuts as it is, and I mean, everybody's got a position. They say that if you don't stand for something, you can't stand at all. I don't believe that because that's saying there's either one or the other. I don't believe that at all. I believe there is that place of neutrality, balance. And when you think about elections, wow, here in the United States, I mean, they spend billions of dollars. Now, think about this. Why do they spend billions of dollars? They got to, and I wrote this down, they have to have control of your creative powers. They are truly demigods, not the individuals. They're just piss ants. I mean, a political candidate or even elected politician really isn't something. There's something else controlling it. If you have such a desire for power, and then power, encompasses just a whole lot of stuff. And you think about this. So, what's that purpose? When laws are passed, they're passed by people. Yet, those people, in almost every circumstance, are controlled. Whether it's by an unseen party or a visible worship. And yet, in all of that, it comes down, they have to control us. We're thought creators. It's what we do. Of all the stuff that we read here, and we read a lot, we're going to read some more today, which is fun. For me, this is fun. When I need a break, I step away from it. But all in all, this is a fun place for me. And I feel really favored to be able to do that. I hang out with some of the grooviest people. I mean, not a one of these people that I know in here, I would not invite my house, break bread with, share herbs with. You know, everyone's got to have a herb garden. Know what I mean, guy? Got the glasses. But it's us. Now, we can do this individually. By the way, thank you all, because this is fun. And when it's fun is really when you have the best, you're in that zone of creativity. Your mind is open to receive thoughts, expand out beyond your boundaries. That's cool. I really like that. Yeah. So do you. But anyway, so it's what we think. Well, what's your position on Trump? What's your position on Biden? Who is the right party? Is it the Democrats or is it the Republicans? Maybe it might be the independents. But we're a two-party system. So you have to have a thought. We want you to have a thought like us because we can add you to our numbers. That just raises up in my imagination. I'm seeing Star Trek: The Next Generation, the Borg. Resistance is futile. We'll add your experience to the collective. And that's what every political party, every religious denomination, the religion itself, philosophy, ideology, really, that's what it's about. It's about joining a collective of thought. Rarely do humans have the ability to be completely independent. It would be akin to existing in the void. Now, there's nothing wrong with the void. The void's really kind of cool, you think about it, because a lot comes from the void. One could say that if it wasn't for the void, we wouldn't have this. But anyway, we're all influenced by a thought. Now, this group knows what thoughts are. We know that they're egregores. Could be a good argument that we are, in fact, the epitome, the embodiment of an egregore. I mean, think about this. By the way, I just want to say again, thank you all for great emails and comments. I mean, the last weeks or here late that the comments have been just tremendous. Thank you. And the emails. Just a number of emails, particularly with yesterday's program, because that one was really, kind of difficult. And in a lot of ways, it just offended me to even read it. But you got to do that sometimes because you have to understand the thought form, the egregore that's behind this. And egregores can only exist by those that have to give them thought. Every God must have your thought. If it doesn't have your thought, it's not your God. So if you want to find out who and what your God is, just look and see what you're focusing in on. Now, if it's fun, I can dig that. People say, well, all my life, hard work, Wayne. And I started out working hard. Hey, I was 16 years old working for a concrete construction company. Still know it. Stephen F. Sanders. Mr. Sanders was a really cool guy, gave me a break. He knew I was young, but, you know, I got hired on. And that concrete where what his company built his company on, we built these huge warehouses, like 1 million square feet, concrete warehouses, floor and walls. The walls are 20 feet. I know because I've had to crawl my ass up there. Um, when you're building the wall on the floor of the warehouse, it has to have the styrofoam pockets in it that later has to be cut out in order to put the steel trusses in. But anyway, I digress. But it was always told me hard work, that'll get you ahead. That's a lie, you know, not that there's anything wrong with hard work. Good work ethics are, help frame you and shape you. If you're going to operate in a community of thought beings, then there has to be parameters within that community. And this doesn't say it has to be all the time. I mean, I think all of us like to have some free time, right? Got to get away from here, got to take a break. I think the term I hear today in HR is employees take mental or emotional health days off. I thought, damn, man, did I get totally fucked on that deal? There was no such thing. When I got into sales in the corporate area, hell, it was like, interning at a law office. You're looking to get on, hope to make associate partner. But, I worked in the film and video industry, highly competitive, we technical too, very technical. But if you didn't put in 12 hours, you were considering to be a slackard. And particularly where if you have benchmarks, quotas that have to be met. Anyway, and by the way, as growing up, I mean, I enjoyed selling pot, marijuana, in Texas, right on the corner of Westheimer and Montrose, and then other associated places. But even that, I knew how to hustle, But anyway, that's where the discipline came in and it paid off. But again, it's all a thought form. And in here today, it's so extreme because of so many other, I wouldn't say their circumstances, things coming together that it's quite amusing. I mean, politics. And the thing about it is, so you got this thought form, right? That we think, or so we say. There could be a good question. Do we really think our own thoughts? Are they original to us? Facebook has this algorithm they developed years ago that it's so good that it can actually see the corpuscles, the veins right underneath your nose, your eyes up here, and it can tell how you're reacting to something. That's kind of like the modern day lie detector test. It's not allowed in the courts, but the science and the technology has been proven. And the interesting thing about what that proved is that there is this delay. Now, it's measured in nanoseconds, but there is this delay between what apparently we think and then it manifests, whether it be in word, facial expressions, whatever. Well, that's interesting. Complex what's going on in there. So are we really the captains of our own ships? I mean, if we're sailing in the sea of primordial matter, raw thought energy, and we're navigating through this, do we do it on our own? I mean, I don't know about you. When I'm not here, I don't really talk a lot because I like reading. I like going within. I find peace going within. It's an environment that I've created and I'm within myself and very comfortable with myself. I'm such a complex thought person too. I mean, amazing what my thoughts and how my thoughts then begin to affect my emotions and how my emotions affect my physical body, which then affects my mental thoughts. And speaking about fun, emotions. Are emotions fun? They're complex. They're hard to have power over. Some are better at others. The old expression, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Thin skin. But yet, emotions and emotions don't actually function unless there is a stimulation of thought. But emotions are like, if you're an alchemist and you come into my sanctuary here, I've got drawers and cabinets that have different things in them, but it's all the alchemy. And that's what emotions are. You can pull one out, it's like, well, what is love? Well, to be candid with you, love is what we perceive it to be, what we create it to be. There's a love of many different things. I love chocolate, love my wife. Dare say the two are not the same. But anyways, hey, listen, this was one of those things that you just think about it because it's so weird. And fun requires emotion. Thing about fun is that they say if we were having fun all the time, then we would not know what a tarry or a burden is. Can you be serious and still have fun? I don't know. I've been in some situations where I didn't find it fun. But then again, if I am a thought being, then the emotion and the experience, regardless whether it be perceived as good or bad, is still the experience, which is still fun. In my past life, I used to suffer from kidney stones. I didn't find that very much fun. But as I look back on now, I'm going, well, what an experience. Just saying, chocolate on a wife is a new level of love. There you go. Now, and we weren't talking about that now, Shirley. But anyway, yeah. Paul Joe said, I delivered newspapers, hard to get 500 in the morning. Wore my bicycle out. I bet you did. Holy crap. Jeez, that's hard work. Seriously. Um, Abbott Hoffman says most comics very serious. How odd. So I have to, um, Abbott, you get the gold star. So I spoke the other day of the Fabulous Freak Brothers. And I'll just show this real quick because this is how synchronicity is abundant here in this enclave of ours. So here we go. Y'all wanted to know what the Fabulous Freak Brothers are. Here is Freddy's Fat Cat. I like this one. And you can see, and I think that's Freddy. He says, asleep again. He says, how can cats sleep so much? He must be aware less than 2 hours a day. And the cat gets up and says, yawn. He says, frankly, it's not so difficult nowadays. But if, and I have to get really there, he says, but if I don't know, let me go over here. Yeah, there we go. Says, but if I don't know how I did it before, Fat Freddy's got his prescription of Valium. And I mean, so it's really kind of, if you go back, it's one of the comics of yesteryear. Uh, and the cat is just great. It's just, there's some of them that, of course, I was reading it, takes away. But anyway, this is what it is. Here's their story. Yeah. And let me go over here, and here are the Freak Brothers themselves. Stoners, really. Beautiful people. If you get into the comics, I really love their minds. And this is the stuff I was reading in my early youth. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Someone did not know who and what they were. Well, now you do. Go out and check them out. R. Crumb as well. Seriously, I'm just time traveling here. Because those thoughts, one person says, you reminisce quite a bit about these about taking drugs. And I wrote back and I said, well, you have to understand the time, the circumstance, and the culture. So I told him, I said, I was a throwaway kid. I didn't have any adult supervision. And just the 70s, 1970, 71, 72, amazing years. But as I told this person, my experiences with hallucinogenics it was fun. It was mind expanding, soul stretching, spirit awakening, all of that perfect trifecta in action. And there's so many people that's a part of this group that have experienced the same thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And it taught us, at least it taught me very early in life, that there is this other reality that coexists within our reality. And if my brain, through the stimulation of certain chemicals, which all of our brains produce a myriad of different chemicals, then what could be so wrong with that? And boy, that first hit of acid I took opened up a whole new world for me. But anyway, and yeah, I do romanticize about it because as the external circumstances would have been to most people terrible, to me, I didn't see it as that. I saw it as like, man, did I hit the jackpot? I mean, that's exactly what I thought back then. I was 15 years old and I didn't answer to anybody. Anyway, I digress. Let's continue on. Oh, that's why you tune in, right? It's like, as the Moody Blues said, you know, the door, Dr. Leary, he would take you trips throughout the day and land you back on your feet the same day. It's true. And there were so many groovy people back then. There's a lot here, but I mean, just in general, yeah, everyone today is out in the world are so freaking uptight. And that's what kind of got me thinking about a theme for the day is that, man, people are wound so freaking tight, they're producing diamonds out of their asses. I mean, that's what happens. You put a piece of coal up there and they're going to shit a diamond. They're just that freaking uptight. And you can't say anything to them because, you know, freaking's offends them. Well, how dare you? I can't believe it's what? That's all I can say. Susie says mine was during some night. Susie, so are you saying so you watch the Terminator uh, tripping? That would be a trip. Yeah. Jeanette, there's a lot of synchronicity going in there. Guy, how are you doing, my dear? Uh, that's a good friend, Guy. I'm just assuming that if I had a friend who was an LSD tester, that's a good friend to have. I mean, hopefully that friend shared. I mean, oh man. And you know, the one thing I didn't like, and it was weird, um, because depending on who the chemist was, they cut the LSD because, you can't put it out there. I mean, if you put something out there that's 700, 800 mics, I mean, that person's going to trip their ass off. And particularly if you bring in a newbie and, yeah, that's going to send them. But a lot of times they cut it with strychnine. And I could, and because strychnine enhances the effect. But oh man. And many of you know that feeling, when there was more strychnine in it than because that is deadly, right? Um, that's why you have to be very careful with the peyote cactus. You have to know exactly what part to cut because the rest of it is pure strychnine. But anyway, I digress again. Strychnine, yeah, yeah, Mr. Floyd, yeah, you know that, and particularly when you're coming down, what a fucked up feeling that was. Okay, boy, we are really going back. Um, liquid acid, yes, on a sugar cube, absolutely. Phenomenal stuff. And again, as I was talking the other day, clear light or window pane. That window pane allowed me to go have an out of body experience, literally. But yeah. Uh, Clever Gypsy says, my favorite event, I saw Ozzy at Red Rocks and it rained. Exactly. Hey, Doug. Clever Gypsy, that's exactly right. Uh, that had to be a cool opportunity. Lynn and I went and saw, when we lived in Colorado, went and saw um, Steely Dan and Stevie Winwood. And when Steve Winwood came on, as many of you know, and I know Gilbert, you would know this as well. Many of you who have ever been to Red Rocks. It it always seems to freaking rain there. But that particular rain shower, and it had been hot already, and the hail started. I had to cover Lynn because the hail was so bad and it was coming down the steps ahead. By the time it was reaching us, we were on like the ninth row. Holy shit. I got home and my back was bruised up. But anyway, love Red Rocks though. It's a good place to and particularly when the weather is just right. It is phenomenal. Um, So here we are. Mr. Floyd said at Red Rocks last year, no rain. Oh, how cool was that? Um, yeah, great place. Love it. Yeah. Anyway, we continue. Wasn't expecting to really talk about, but it's about thought, isn't it? Whole political parties. Yesterday show so many I got more emails than I normally would see, and wow, you know, one person says, you're in the expression of, the way things are said here and presented, and that person said it was fun listening. And it also, I got several others that many of us who were once Christians and now are not, we have found ourselves, coming together, which again validates a lot for me. But yeah, just thank you. I mean, it's a fun thing to do. That's all I got to say. All right, so RF says I've had some. Oh, well, how cool is that? Seriously, that's cool. RF, that is, could dig that. Yeah, you know, it's just the way we are. Thank you, Jeanette. Well, much love back to you, darling. Making me embarrassed now. Mm. So, as we continue down, so thoughts. Again, we're in the crazy time, and this is even more crazier. I mean, I'm convinced that as our magnetopause continues to weaken, as we have more of these cosmic rays coming in, it's driving us humans cuckoo. We're going freaking nuts. And you see it everywhere. And someone I heard said that in America, that America is less religious than it has apparently ever been. Now, I don't know that. I think about the West. Um, I don't know. Maybe religion played a role in it. I'm sure it did, but a lot of people went out west just to get the hell away from the people back east. They didn't like their politics. They didn't like their religion. And today, you will hear people particularly in what I would say more the far right political mindset, is that because America is less Christian, less, and that's what they're saying. I don't think we're less religious. We're just more diversified in our beliefs. And that's what happens when you steal from what people were: pagans, country folks, common sense, walked with nature, understood the animal kingdom, to today, where it's sterile. It's all about data. It's all about information, man. It's about stimulating your mind. And anyway, they say that as a result of this is why we have the chaos that we have today. I disagree with that. The reason why we have the chaos we have today is because humans have made bad decisions, bad choices, cause and effect. Not that much of a mystery, and a religion doesn't play anything to that. Now, it may on an individual basis, be the moral guide, the compass, their center, whatever, but it's not the only way. And as we discussed yesterday, think about this. One person wrote me this email and said, "You blew my freaking mind." I had the freaking in there. And said that for what was shown yesterday, this person wrote, you have obliterated, shattered the whole paradigm of the modern Godspell. I think we did. That religion can't be the true religion. No, I don't think any religion has any truth in it, but that's just me. Again, it's for control of our minds. If we don't give that thought to that egregore, that thought form, it will die. And I find it remarkable through the ages how certain entities have remained relevant by always having at least a small remnant devoted thought to them, to it. But anyway, getting back to that. So without the thought form, it doesn't exist. And that's the interesting thing about us. I really don't know where we come from. I don't know if we are this energy, this plasma that has the ability to think, create thought, manifest. We manifest out of substance. And that's another interesting thing. When I grabbed a hold of that decades ago, it was really the first initiation rite. Manifesting from thought something physical. I can sit here and I'm just looking on my desk, several things that I have manifested through thought, and you have too. It's an amazing process, folks. I don't think we give enough thought to that. Because where fun is concerned, I love creating. You know, when I invented the first mobile payment app for nonprofits, I would go without sleep sometimes 30 hours because I was so into it, and I was drawing out the diagrams and then writing the corresponding narrative, this case, business plan. It was fun. It's having the time of my life. And this group here as well. Y'all stimulate me. Y'all, so many emails coming in on great material. One person, and thank you again for all of them that you're sending. How they have manipulated the electromagnetic field of us. And that's interesting because electromagnetic fields affect thought as well. There's so much to electromagnetic fields that we're just now discovering that I think it's going to open up a whole new reality for us. Because in essence, that's what all we are. We're walking ectoplasm. But we love sharing with one another. Yeah, here you go. Have a little bit of that. Florida woman, how are you doing? Streaming while I make crafts. I have saved my sanity. None of us are alone. Spot on, my dear. Exactly. She says, I love Maya magic. Fantastic. I love you guys. You see, Coming in with this group is like a dose of good medicine, You hang out here enough and you just kind of leave with happy feet, you even when we cover this serious stuff, I mean, it's like we seem to still, in the midst of this, whatever it is, our energy still comes out laughing. I mean, it's a positivity that, yeah. And isn't it odd how, if you want to get people freaked out, how you can take a laugh and then flip it a little bit to where it becomes a laugh of horror? Isn't that weird? And I mean, it's like, then I always ask myself, when directors put that in, and I think to myself, well, all right, so spirits laugh too. Although I will have to say, on the paranormal side, one of the more unsettling laughs is always that of a child. Laughter of a child or children, when you hear them out playing in nature, is quite beautiful. But then you can take that and, yeah, make it really weird, isn't it? Sure. John Elmer Fudd. I hadn't thought about that in a long time. Um, Monkey says you're only alone if you abandon yourself. Yeah. Well, what can I say? D Ocean's Deep Woo, what's up? Good to see you. So I look over there. Susie, good to see you. Delistra, what's up? Well, lots of new people here. Kundalini King, thank you. And Sean, I'm so late. Hey, that's all right, Sean. It's like they always say, if you're really going to be late, then the best thing to be late at is to your own funeral. Yeah. That's another thing. Funerals. Doesn't it have fun in the term, right? Funeral. Fun is real. I don't know. Maybe that whole thing about orgasmic death really does have talk about a way to get sent off into the other side. Wow. That's all I gotta say. John, Copeland's laugh is a little strange. Hey, when I look back on those days, and I was right in that camp. John, you were too. Many of you probably can share the same thing. And boy, when I recount now, I look back on that. You want to talk about total mind control. Wow. I mean, that is some of the strongest shit I have ever been involved in. Listen, when you're in a mind control thing and you're writing checks for thousands, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, because it's going to get you in better grace with God, you show your faith, God will make you rich. It's promised in the Bible. I can read you chapter and verse. Write the check. Write the check. Prove me now, says God, and see if I will not, Malachi 3, 10, and 11. See, I know it. Strong, strong. I mean, it's powerful. And you get caught up in that. And it's the same thing with politics. I was a member of one of the most, it was described as the most far right private organizations. It was formed during the Reagan years. Yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful stuff. And I look at this group here and myself, and I marvel how we have found ourselves together. We virtually all have walked similar paths, and maybe even those ones I even spoken about. And this group, you watching this, You're fucking fantastic. I mean, you're fucking brilliant. I mean, what a spirit you are. You're truly a master. And I feel honored to be amongst some of the brightest points of energy that I know of, manifesting thoughts, you know, fact, Jack. Um, God's a gambling addict. Yeah, that's the other thing. Just to be laying it out there. So, of all the prosperity message, everything with Copeland and Hagen and Jesse Duplantis, and I can go on and on and on and on. They talk about prosperity, but the con is, you see, the individual giving doesn't have the network that will give to them. Now, they'll tell you God will find the way. But in the meantime, those sons of bitches and bitches, they're buying fucking G6s, Citation 10s. I mean, many of them have 2, 3 jets. What the fuck do you need 2 or 3 jets for? Well, because God blessed me. Yeah. That fucking God robbed me so that you conned me to buying you that fucking $28, $30 million jet. Creflo Dollar, look at that. That's how strong it is. And then you mix that with the politics. Ooh, baby. Now, many of us in this enclave were really kind of inoculated from that. If it be known to the general public as you go out into the world about where you really stand, you'd be ostracized. Right and left. And yeah, we're the minority, but we're powerful beings. I mean, if you can break the God spell, you can break the political spell, you can break of all of this and understand how it works, why it works, and how you fit into that cog or don't fit in, you're fucking brilliant. I mean, way to go. High 15, just brilliant. That's why I find it just an honor, to hang out with y'all. It's just freaking cool. And we studied it enough. Fear-based control. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I tell you what, I can tell you stories. When I was developing the mobile giving app, in churches, it that was unheard of. Well, there wasn't any payment system really on mobile phones back then. But holy crap, you talk to a church council, church board, the pastor, about money. And boy, you got a whole different spirit that comes in. And because it's all about money. And I had more than one national evangelist tell me that. So we don't really care about the souls. It's really about the money. We what do you think? It takes money to do this. No shit. I worked with the federal authorities in providing statistics on the theft that took place in churches and religious organizations. And then when I expanded it into nonprofits, holy crap. But it's because the IRS looks at churches as this money thing. Now, because we're going more digital and digital, it's becoming less of an issue. But back in the day, cash was, flowing in these places. And the pilfering was reaching into the billions of dollars. And the odd thing that I found most odd when you looked at this, do you know who stole the most? I know we got a lot of people in here. Do you know who was caught more often stealing from God? Now, it's the tithe, right? I mean, fuck, you're stealing from fucking God, man. I mean, are you fucking nuts? But anyone want to guess? Church secretaries and tied pastor wives. Mm-hmm. And it's it's just true story. I was in one church. I went around the country doing my own market research because there wasn't any. And I would talk typically to the pastor. And this one church that I was in, Alabama, this guy invites me in and, thinks it's really cool, that, I'm just doing field research, collecting data. And I said, because the mobile giving app was tied to the IRS regs, and I said it would stop the pilfering and allow your books and etc. And so I'm sitting in his office, and he says, "Well, I think that's just fine." But he said, "Let me tell you how it really works." He pulls up a drawer out of his desk, and boom, lays this one book, accounting book, ledger book. He says, "That's what I show everybody else." He brings up this little book here and he says, "But this really has the true numbers." I'm thinking, God's been very good for me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Bonnie says, sounds like a TV show. Pastor White. Oh, it's true. I mean, one of the mega churches, and they had the biggest problem. They really did. Osteen's church, and I knew his dad. I knew John Osteen personally, and uh, with Joel now, of course, with the mesmerizing spell. Seriously, folks, um, won't get into that now, but that was a real problem. Yeah, I thought it was real interesting when they were doing. It was a plumber who found it. Was there at the Compact Center there in Houston, and he was tearing into the drywall. He's finding this offering envelope come down in the wall, and come to find out there's almost $1 million in cash that somebody was putting in offering envelopes and somehow or another was stashing it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So, um, telling you, it's freaking wild out there, but it's fun. And it's all about, the thought. You think about this, that how you can get an individual to write you a check or give you money, and at the same time believe that they're doing a righteous thing and that this is going to give them brownie points with the big dude, and that, I'm going to be taken care of. And the crazy thing is, doesn't work for the majority of people. They don't really believe it. They're still bound by guilt that they're giving it as a guilt offering. That's a terrible, terrible thing to do. I mean, that's black magic. And won't get into this, might get into it tomorrow with Nina. But if you're giving guilt offerings because this is to, somehow advocate you from, your guilt, again, it's the thought. But if you truly believe in the hundredfold principle, it's amazing how that shit will start manifesting. And the rest of the people, they ain't getting shit. But you're doing something because things, and that's my point. Because if you really believe it, you never question it. You just do it. Okay. I had this other whole thing I was going to show, but ran out of time. Yeah, it was fun. Good people here. Thank you all. All souls belong to the Most High. Well, like I said, I don't know who or what that is, but I don't argue. I mean, what do I know? Somehow I'm hearing Simon and Garfunkel in the back of my head. The Boxer. I love that song. Yeah. Okay. So, hey, Bonnie. Thank you. Loretta said, I learned if I meant to go and do XYZ, then I shouldn't feel guilty. And if XYZ was, I got to keep up on this, was an accident, I shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel guilty about anything, actually. Now, I know that that would go against many people's belief structure, but you're here. It's like, as I keep saying, and I had to write this to someone the other day, how could I walk away from Jesus? And I said, listen, if your God did what you said, and I was created, and I truly have free choice, I'm a sovereign being, there shouldn't be a penalty for what I choose. And if there is, then I was never free to begin with. Just depends how you look at it. Well, I have had fun. The existing one, the beginning one from zero. But you know what, folks? With all due respect, everything that I see people write, all of that is with a thought. No one can prove a God exists. No one can prove a God doesn't exist. No one can prove a goddess exists or not. I haven't met one. And I know about the whole inside thing. And, I'm not a Borg. Got no desire to be a part of the collective. I don't mind sharing. But hey, we all like to go back to our homes, right? It's fun. This has been fun. There you go. So, as they say, you got to start somewhere. Oh, man. I could get a joke on that one. All right, folks, have fun. I had fun today. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I found this to be stimulating. Grow the preacher's bank account. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that, this is just me. It's why I don't monetize this channel. It's why I don't ask anything of y'all. I kind of figure it's like this. If we're discovering this together, then we've already paid for it. But that's just me. And, the universe has been very, very kind to me. Lots of favor. That's all I got to say. Lots of favor. But anyway, Sean says, the man who knows something knows he knows nothing at all. Exactly. All right. Guy, much love to you and Paul. Red Honey, how are you doing? Good to see you, Grace. Hello. The Oceans, thank you. Lost in Space, right back at you. Coincidence 333, thank you. Celebrate your life. I'm right there. Yeah. Millie, hello. Good to see you. Favor be to you. Mary Wins, much love to you, darling. All right, AK Morning Star. Thank you. Thank you all. So we'll see you tomorrow with Miss Nina. She's had been exercising manifestations, and yeah, we'll find out some of that as well. What's next? Any other live recommendations? I don't know. I don't know. Have to let me think that. Rod Loss, good to see you. Thank you. Cover your head. Hey, Trina. Well, how you doing, darling? All right, Susie, right back at you. Uh, much love, Light Wrist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Deborah Sloan, much love to you, darling. Appreciate you. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Have fun. It's a beautiful day. It's getting warmer here. Yeah, it's growing. Going to be out there mowing, going to be out there doing more work on the property, but that's fun. Yeah, I dig that.